Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. In the last 4 days, we've seen 3 horrific cases of women bearing the brunt of beastly violence. A 24-year-old woman in Bengaluru was killed by a man who barged inside her PG late at night and slit her throat. A 21-year-old in Navi Mumbai was killed, her body disposed of in the bin so callously that dogs had chewed off her face. In Delhi, a female gym trainer, was killed over matters dealing with money by somebody she knew. In all the 3 cases, the perpetrators of the crime, the murderers, were all known to the victims, which is why today we will bring in voices that will talk about intimate partner violence and what do we need to do to make homes safer for women. In fact, every time we talk about women's safety, there are only technocratic solutions that are proposed: increase the number of CCTVs, improve forensics. But what needs to change at the societal level in our thinking, and all that and more is what we ask in this discussion on the safety of women. Before we get to our guests, let's look at some reactions from G. Parameshwara, who's the Home Minister of Karnataka.
The first and foremost, sir, we are talking about women's safety, and NDTV has been running a campaign. As the Home Minister, what are your thoughts on this, sir? How can we ramp up security measures for women?
See, we have been continuously looking at this women's safety in India, in Bangalore, and the whole of Karnataka. In fact, after the Nirbhaya incident in Delhi, Government of India also brought out a new program, Nirbhaya program, and funded huge money to all the states. We received some 650 crores and we have been spending that money. We have already spent most of it. And we installed nearly 7,000 cameras in cities, CCTVs, and all the entire feed is going to a control room. And we are monitoring, in public wherever we have installed CCTVs. And we have also, started a women patrolling vehicles. Police force. We have recruited women in large number. Our percentage has gone up to 20% already. And, wherever it is necessary, we run programs in schools, colleges, and things like that. We are focusing on, places where there is large number of people gather, women colleges, women schools, girls schools. So the entire program, comprehensively, we are actually looking at the women's safety in Bangalore, particularly in Bangalore. Yet, a lot of incidents do happen. They're either domestic in nature or some love affairs, or maybe some incidents related to, family affairs. So these things are a challenge for us. The other day, one paying guest facility, one fellow was supposed to be, had an affair with a girl. He entered and killed another person who happens to be the friend of the girl whom he was having an affair. So these kind of things, it's very, very difficult for us to monitor. But yet we try to monitor the security facilities in those PGs. We try to monitor, the systems they have, whether they have cameras, whether they have all these facilities, security facilities. But it is a challenge, and we continuously doing this, security aspects.
So when it comes to the PG accommodations, yes, Bengaluru has not seen anything new. We have seen attacks taking place inside ATMs, inside a cab, and now with respect to the PG accommodation, something that was considered a very safe place where you have a warden, you have a security guard. How do you think that this can be changed? Because a lot of women who want to come to Bangalore to study are now having an element of fear.
See, this is one of an incident. Every day, all the PGs, incidents don't happen. But wherever or whenever happens, we do tighten up that particular system The entire PGs, now I have asked our commissioner to look into security aspects of PGs, more particularly girl students, girl employees, where women are staying, we are tightening up those security aspects.
We have Nyoma Gupta, who's a spokesperson from the BJP. We have Bhavya Narasimhamurthy from the Congress party. We have Abha Singh, social activist and also lawyer. And we have Sanjay Sahai, former ADGP from Karnataka, joining us. Thank you, all of you, for joining me on this broadcast. Starting with you, Nyoma Gupta, I remember a few years ago, the Prime Minister had said that every time a boy comes home late, we don't ask him, but daughters are often asked questions. So I do understand that he has made a lot of efforts in the last few years to at least instill some societal changes. But can that be spoken about everybody else in the government is not something that I'm sure of. Because when it comes to intimate partner violence, it clearly has some evident flaws when it comes to its classification in India. We still see a father killing a daughter for honor crimes. We see a husband or in-laws maybe punishing, a daughter-in-law for not bringing in dowry. But when a girl gets killed or assaulted by an ex-boyfriend or somebody that she has rejected, there is not much discussion about it. She's often blamed for it. Has the government at a policy level even looked at something like this?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm here today to participate in this debate as a woman, more than a spokesperson of a party, because I'm going to speak completely from the heart. Yeah. And it is a known fact that no point beating around the bush, that crimes against women in India is a serious issue that will not be solved through political bickering. However, what we can see that the issue stems from something deep within our society itself. Let me start with a small piece of data that is the most revealing. In fact, according to the latest NCRB data, the majority of crime against women were of cruelty by husbands or their relatives. It was a massive 31.4%. In simple words, domestic violence. And, there are so many reasons for this, such as patriarchal attitudes in families. The point is we need to address this as a nation. In many families, we still see that males getting preferential treatment and discrimination against women is still there in education, sports, or money. Right. This psychological bias within men, the men start thinking they're superior, and this often manifests into things like dowry, marital abuse, tormenting, and stuff like that. And in another point, in India, family is considered sacrosanct, which I completely concur with. But a fallout of that is that the law almost never gets involved in case of domestic abuse. Imagine being a woman going through harassment or abuse and all doors are shut for you. Another unfortunate, shocking, what we've been seeing is a spate of incidents of jilted lovers. They feel it's justified to kill a woman just because they've been rejected through their advances or whatever it is. There have been so many cases, I've actually lost count. This again is a combination, if you see, of terribly unequal power of dynamics combined with no fear of law. Right. Civil society, families, religious leaders, everyone needs to take a serious view of this issue and try and inculcate, I would say, better values into the system. See, the minute the society says no, all this will stop.
Right, absolutely. That I think is the most important thing. Let me get an answer from Bhavya on this. Bhavya, Congress is, at the helm of the state there, and Congress party was one of the few parties that brought in mobility for, free public transport for the women of Karnataka. Bengaluru is also seen as a space of opportunity. An equal number of working women are thriving there. Why did it not occur to the state government that PGs and working hostels need that kind of adequate safety? Because, women are also vulnerable in spaces like this because, there's migration, there's urbanization, and also, there are also men who cannot take rejection. So clearly, women need that kind of, in the sense, security to ensure that their dreams are not tragically cut short.
I totally agree with the BJP spokesperson when she spoke about gender-based violence, This is something which doesn't have any boundaries, whether it is religion or caste or any political party or within any organization or any country for that matter. It doesn't have any boundaries, language, any religion you are in. I think first and foremost, you spoke about Karnataka. Yes, all the three major cities where, we are discussing about. If you observe one thing, all three women are living away from their families almost, and they are either working or studying. On one part, like I said, when it comes to domestic violence, it can happen to someone without working as well. I mean, it has no boundaries. But when you spoke about PGs, like the Home Minister just mentioned, yes, it is one of its kind. This has happened. The PGs, some of the PGs might not have maintained that privacy of individuals.
But Bhavya, there is, even when you
I'm sure
heard the
the
Home
laws
Minister
are one thing.
speak, and I'm not blaming him, I see a lot of, people, leaders who basically legitimize this as natural behavior of violent men. I'm not saying that G. Parmeshwara did that, but
No.
a
He
lot
did
of
not
men do that,
legitimize.
isn't
It
it?
will
How
be
do you
very
counter
wrong.
that?
It will be no. We did not legitimize it. Like when we first of all say, PG should have maintained the security and all that. First of all, these men, it's not about the safety that women
Yeah.
need to take care of themselves. Men need to stay away from them.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
when it comes to such violence, that should be a point first of all. Than saying, why was the safety not taken care of? That will be like indirectly, passively, we are blaming the victim when we say that. And when you spoke about Shakti, let me tell you, I have traveled by bus when I was, in college for like 4 years, my engineering college. I felt many times, unsafe because there were lesser women. I had to travel for more than a half an hour, right? And today, the Shakti scheme, there are more than 50% of women traveling are women. When the social aspect of this scheme, one of the very important thing is women feeling safe.
Right.
Because there are more and more women going out today, either for working, and the students, women who are working, even starting from domestic workers to, women going to offices. There's a revolutionary change in the number of women going out
Right.
after this Shakti. It has only empowered women both economically, socially.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So
Abba Singh, that's an important point that Bhavya is making.
Very important.
Let me take a comment from Abba. Abba, how do you, a lot of girls face rejection, and in the sense, how do you deal with something like this? Because, men have to be continuously told that women are rising, they're evolving, they also have dreams, they have ambitions, they can survive and thrive in cities, and men have to be sort of, accepting of that, and also, this equality message. How do you give that message to a practical world? Well, everything looks very good in theory, but you're also explaining things to men, and in some ways, when a woman gets assaulted or killed by a man she knew, there's always a certain degree of, a little bit of let go attitude, at least when it comes to a large portion of lawmakers saying that, well, this was a man she knew. So how do you stop that kind of mentality?
No, you're very right. NCRB figures always say that maximum rapes are
Yeah.
committed by people who knew the girl. And in this case also, you see the girl in Delhi, Sneha, and they are all young, 20 to 24. Sneha is 20, Yashasri is 21, the Bengaluru girl, I think, is 24. So it shows that they're in the young age and there is violence prevalent in the society. And what is worrying is there is no fear of law. So these boys have just come with a knife, killed them, and thought that nothing is going to happen. So I would say first and most important is faster justice, speedier conviction, 100% conviction. Till the time there's not a fear of law, we will not be able to stop these gruesome murders, because these girls are now economically independent. They are living in PGs. They are living alone in the houses. They're not living with their families. So only a strong sense of fear of the law can control this crime. And PG, I'm worried that where was the security? All these PGs are supposed to have security guards. How could this man enter this girl's room at 11 p.m. in the night? That means they were allowing. So this is one where I feel that action needs to be taken. But in the other two, because one place in Mumbai, the girl went voluntarily. She told her parents that she was going to meet the boy. And in Delhi, they were living together. They were in a relationship. So as
Abba, that also is seen as a transgressive relationship, right? Because, even when the Shraddha Vaikar case happened, a lot of people had a problem that, she was living in with a boy. So, even at that time, the minute a woman decides to do things on her own, have this sense of autonomy, which a lot of young people are sort of like, projecting right now. They enjoy that thing that they have. isn't that a great thing, the fact that, there are freedoms and they're enjoying that. But of course, the society also isolates them because most of these women have not really spoken to their mothers, sisters, friends about probably the kind of obsessive behavior of these men that they were facing. What explains that? Let me take this question to Mr. Sahai. Sir, how does the police look at something like this? Because, while there are technocratic solutions, there could be more CCTVs that could be put in place. There could be more forensics, universities, research, all that. But how do you prepare the world for empowered women?
See, basically, we have been working on gender sensitization, but the nature of impact it is supposed to make, I don't think that impact is made. And all the things which the earlier three panelists have talked about, and you have been reiterating over and over again, is the patriarchal relationship. And somewhere behind that if a woman knows a man, which means that the crime, the intensity and the quantum of the crime is automatically brought down. See, crime is a crime, and the capability of an well-established criminal justice system with all the auxiliary agencies, inclusive your private security agencies, lawyers, NGOs, all combined, to come at the right moment is equally important. And counseling, what happens with most of these women? They have nobody to fall back upon.
Yeah.
Even their mothers, sisters, and all that, they know very well that they will not get any support, so they cannot go to them.
Right.
So some level of counseling where I can open up. If they start a startup and I land into an issue, so finally you give me a choice to go to NCLT varieties or other things. So that safety net itself is missing.
Right, absolutely.
First, the safety net is missing. And secondly, we don't have an ecosystem which is seamlessly merged with police, NGOs, counselors, people who have expertise in these sorts of crimes. So we are living in a completely interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary world, which has metamorphosed literally anything and everything, which we thought till 5, 10 years, 15 years back, are independent and segregated. So, and we are not ready to progress from any standpoint.
Right.
What we discussed in 2013 for Nirbhaya and all those 4 great points which were enumerated there and with 7,500 crores and all that, nobody can convincingly tell you that these many things have been done.
Right,
Nobody
absolutely.
can convincingly tell me that PG accommodations are safe. These are the safe areas. These are the unsafe areas.
This is, in addition to what Mr. Sai is saying, I was looking at the budget and there has been an increase of at least, 3 times when it comes to budget for women's safety. Nirbhaya funds has also been significantly increased, but clearly, these are changing times and we can't just be talking about pepper sprays and apps because, there is a change that the society is undergoing and men have to sort of prepare for that and they also have to change. How do you think the governments can sort of help in this and what role can sort of policy makers make in this and how representative should the policy making domain, how important is that? Because when it comes to policy making, do we really take the views of college students? Recently Coimbatore police reached out to college students and especially females, young female women students, asking them to give their suggestions. How often do we see that happening to ensure that there is some inclusive policy making that happens?
See,
policy is made in. Sorry, was that question for me or for?
Yes.
Okay, so for me. So when it comes to policy making, obviously a lot of data is taken into account and it's entailed and then implemented over a period of time to see the success rate of that policy. Now you take, for example, the new BNS Act, okay? It will help. It is going to ease the process of crime reporting against women way better and the investigation will become a smoother and easier process. Reporting of crime can be done online. There is so many sensitive things which have been put into this. 0 FIRs. The woman, when a lady goes to report the necessary crime, there will be a woman magistrate there in case not. There is a male magistrate, but there will be a women escort. There will be free medical treatment. The mental stability and the mental sanity of the lady will be kept into account. So the law is changing with the times, seeing the crime rate keeping around. I'll give you a small example. I'm a lawyer by profession and talking from day-to-day example, even when it comes to the Delhi police, like there are women help desks I've seen which are helping more crimes being reported. As a result, there are more reported crimes.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
If you're understanding that, yeah, it's a fantastic thing. Like there's stationary, there's so many things, stationing of accessible rapid response vans around vulnerable roads. So I'm sure that other states can learn from this, and we can learn from other states. It has to be a combination of things. And when it, for me, personally speaking, more than the law, the police, which comes in any incident, I think society has the hugest role to play when it comes to women's safety.
Absolutely.
After all, when a society decides something is absolutely unacceptable,
Closing remarks from
we generally see a
closing
decline
remarks
of
from Abha
incidents.
and Bhavya. Bhavya, as a woman, what would your advice be to women on what the red flags are? While we talk about the need to sort of ensure that freedoms are in place, I'm also worried for them, for their safety. What do you think needs to be the advice to women when it comes to red flags in men? I know this is a non-political question, but as a woman, what would you say?
Yeah, the very fact that we are giving advices to women itself is not acceptable. It's like, if a woman wants to live her life, if she wants to go out of the family, if she wants to stay somewhere, the first thing we say is save. Like every minute, from the time we wake up, we dress up, we have to make sure that, it's not very provocative. We go stand in a bus, go in a public transport, take a cab, take a rickshaw. We have to be very careful where the cab driver is taking me. In a bus where, if there is a person's hand somewhere near me. But there is a man out there, someone with equal qualification, he'll only be thinking about his own career. The very fact that giving advices to women should stop, and the government should take right actions. And if, yes, this is a societal problem, gender-based violence is a societal problem. But if they're not ready to agree and let women live, then punishments are the only way. The strictest punishment should be given, and fast-track courts.
That's very important. Abha Singh, last word from you. BNS is in place now, Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. We don't have anything for intimate partner violence. It's still seen as, honor crimes, or for that matter, dowry-related crimes. How important is it for society to understand that keeping women safe is not really putting restrictions on them, like Bhavya is also mentioning, curfew timings, or for that matter, dress codes? How do you work on that, and what is it that the law can do with respect to ensuring that societal change?
Now with economic freedom, girls are going to be living separately. They are going to move cities. That is what is happening. Be it Bengaluru, the girl from Assam was living in Delhi. So there are two things which need to be done. One is connect with the family. The family should know if they're living with someone and if there's been violence. So if the girl is not complaining, the family should come forward and register a complaint. Earlier there used to be something called a beat policeman. He would know every area of his thing, who is there. So if a person has a track record, like in Mumbai murder, that person that...
But Abha, that is also, maybe like increasing the intrusion of police in private lives, right?
He already had a criminal case against him. So a track record of all these criminals, even if a minor complaint is made by a girl, police needs to look into it. They need to have a track record of the person she's living with, because till the time the fear factor is not there, and a list of these criminals who are on the ground. Till that time, these murders will happen with impunity, because the Mumbai killer had earlier also done an act, abused her sexually. There was a POSCO act, and how he was roaming free. So it needs to be a closed thing. Public apathy need not be there. Neighbors should also keep an eye on the safety of girls, because crime is happening and it's increasing.
So changes at multiple levels is what we need. Thank you so much. We're out of time completely. Our cities must be measured by the dignity that we give women, and this dignity is clearly not just in life, but also in livelihoods and also in the freedoms that women deserve today, which is what all our panelists pointed out, and which is why I think this is what begins from home. That's all we have for you in this bulletin.